Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Brandon Reaume, the head football coach at Flat Rock High School. How's it going?
It's going good. How you doing, Casey?
Doing well. So let's talk about how this, how's the summer going so far, and what have you guys been able to do? Just kind of talk about how your summer went for you.
Summer's always an important part for our program. This summer is very good. Numbers have been good. I would say we're probably like on a big day, we'd have over 60, lower day, like 45. So probably average about 50 kids each day. We do 3 days a week, 21 days total, 7-on-7s, all that stuff. But we got a good senior class. Like this is going to be a bigger team, maybe the biggest that we've had since I've been here. And just last night, like I was just going through the roster, all the kids that we've seen throughout the summer. Like we got 37 varsity kids, we got 34 JV kids. So it's like numbers are good. We had some success last year. So, kids want to play, and that's good for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So just for people that might not know, just kind of talk about how last year went for you guys.
So last year was one of our best years we've ever had here. 1976, we won a state championship here, and that's kind of like that's the team. And there wasn't a ton of success after that. We've made the playoffs, like 76, they made the playoffs, 1990, 2017, and then last year. So just four times in our program. 1990, they lost to DePorres. 2017, that was my third year here. We lost to River Rouge. And then last year, we kind of accomplished a little bit more. We got our first playoff win since 76. We played Dundee, who we're going to open with this year. And then we won a district championship. And then we lost to Country Day in the third round. But I mean, it was wild. Like we had never hosted a playoff game in the history of our program, and we hosted 3 of them last year. So it was a fun year. It was a ton of fun, and hopefully we can continue that moving forward this year.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the returners and some of the guys to watch out for Flat Rock this year.
Yeah, we got a lot of guys back. Like we had a very good senior class that we lost, some really tough kids, and we were in a lot of tight games last year. And like that class, like I talked about them all the time, like they found a way to get it done. So we're gonna miss a bunch of our seniors from last year, but we got a lot of guys coming back. And it starts with our quarterback. He was a sophomore last year, Graham Youngie. Like he makes us go. Last year, he broke all kinds of Monroe County records passing. He almost had 2,000 yards passing, 23 touchdowns. So, I mean, it starts with him, and he's just a junior. So he just does a lot for us. I mean, he throws it, he changes things, he runs it. We got a 4-year starter coming back in Brian Booms. He's one of our running backs. He's a safety for us. He doesn't leave the field. He's our long snapper. He does everything. Rocco Breslin, he's one of our tight ends. We'll move him all around on offense. He can block. He can catch it. He's a linebacker for us as well. And then on the line, I'm just rattling off our captains. We got 5 captains. Our another one is Michael Boudry. He's a 6'5", 210 senior. He started at left tackle for us last year, plays on the D line. He's back again. And then a new one, well, he's not new, but he was injured all last year. We're going to get him back. Alex Gillum, he's a 6'6", 215 receiver, basketball player. Like he's going to be a nice, another option for our quarterback to throw to. So it's going to be good to have him back. He played as a sophomore on varsity, and then he was hurt last year. So we're looking forward to getting him back. So those are our 5 seniors. I mean, we got some weapons elsewhere, some younger kids. Jacob Piepchek. He's a receiver. He started both ways, offense, defense for us last year. He was kind of like on the backside of a lot of our formations as a junior. And this year, he's going to be a lot more involved. We got two brothers, junior and a sophomore. Zaley is the last name. The older one, he had a bunch of big catches for us late in the season last year. His younger brothers had a great summer so far. So I mean, we got some guys, from the JV, and then a lot returning off our varsity.
Okay, so I know you kind of talked about some of the kids that are back. Just some of the position battles that you kind of need to fill from next year. What are some of the groups that you need to?
So receiver, like we lost our two top receivers last year. They graduated, and I didn't even realize it till I looked at it the other day when I was filling out like these previews. Like they combined for like 1,700 yards receiving and 20 touchdowns. So like that's a big hole to fill. But I think like we got a lot of pretty talented skill kids that we can fill that void. On the line, we bring back 3 guys. So we lost our center and our right guard. We return everybody else. So those positions right now, we're kind of moving some people around, but we got a lot of depth on our O-line. Probably, one of the deeper teams up front, and usually that's, especially for our size and our league, like that's where a lot of, I guess every team, like your line's going to make you go. So we got a lot of depth there this year. So that's pretty huge. Defensively, like we lost 2 of our linebackers graduated. So we got to fill in there, and a couple guys in our secondary. But again, like up front, we got a lot of depth there. But linebackers, secondary, we'll have to figure that out.
Okay, so let's talk about the schedule for a second. I know you kind of mentioned you're going to be you're starting off on the road at Dundee, but I'll just run through the schedule. I know you've if you watched any of these previews, I'm going to just run through them really quick. You are August 24th. You'll start the season at Dundee, as I just mentioned. August 31st, you're going to be at Grosse Ile. September 8th, first home game of the year at Carleton Airport. September 15th, home against Monroe Jefferson. September 22nd at Riverview. September 29th at Milan. October 6th, home against Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central. October 13th, home against New Boston Huron. And October 20th, home against Livonia Clarenceville to finish out the regular season. So a pretty good schedule. A lot of road games to begin the season, but a lot of home games to end it.
Yeah. So our first one, Dundee, way before me, like Flat Rock Dundee used to play quite a bit, and then that went away. So it's good to have that back, and they're a Division 5 team, same size as us. Like I said, we opened with them last year in the playoffs. Very good game. They got a lot of guys coming back like we do. Well coached, and that's been everything we've done this summer is kind of gearing towards that. So that'll be a fun game. They just got new turf, so they're opening a brand new stadium. So that'll be exciting when we go there for that game. We got Grosse Ile that second week, another one on the road. And then we're getting turf too. So that's very exciting for us. That week 3 against Airport is kind of our grand opening for that. And that's, every day watching the progress to that is kind of wild. But our Huron League, like just our league in general, I mentioned this last year, like out of our 8 teams, six of them made the playoffs last year. So like our league is, it is a grind, and there's lots of different things that you see each week. Like a couple teams run the power T, and then there's some teams that spread and throw it all around. Some teams spread it to run it. And so every week it's very different, but like our league it's tough, man. It's tough, and there's a lot of good coaches. There's a lot of good players. But like each week it's just something new. Like what worked last week may not work this week. Our last game our last Huron League game is against Huron. Like that's our big rival. That's always a big one for us. And then we close out with Livonia Clarenceville. think they were Division 3 or 4 last year. It was a wild game. We ended up winning like 58-57. They had a running back that was incredible. We could not tackle him. But it came down to the last play. They went for 2 and we stopped them and won the game, and probably helped give us home field advantage for the playoffs last year. So it's a good schedule, and we're kind of a smaller team in our league. So our league definitely helps us out. Like in years past, like we could have got in with like 3 or 4 wins because of the size of some teams if we'd have beat a couple more. So our league definitely helps us out in that aspect, points wise.
Yeah. Okay, so I know this week, no football activities. I know a lot of teams are taking a really different approach to this week. How have you guys kind of taken it?
Yeah, some take it off, like some of my friends, like, yeah, we just give the kids off. We still lift. We do 3 day, like we're done now. But we do 3 days like we've been doing all season, but we just go right in a row, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We just lift and get equipment out. And that's that's a bear in itself, getting all the equipment out to kids just so we're ready to go for Monday next week and we don't have to deal with that. So that's kind of how we do it. Just quick lift, get your stuff, and then we're done.
Yeah. Okay, so and I know next week is the big day, the day that everyone's looking forward to, and for me, it's the day that I know that I'm not going to have another day off until probably April. But it is exciting. It is the day that all fall practices open up for all fall sports. But what are you most looking forward to to get going on Monday, and what do you want to really see out of this team for heading into that first game against Dundee?
I mean, coming together as a team like that's always big. I feel like just from the summer, some of the 7-on-7 stuff, I feel like we're a little bit ahead of where we usually are, and that helps having the quarterback back. One of the coaches said, like, I feel like we just picked up where we left off, our last game of the playoffs. Like we just picked up right there, which is good. Like we're doing some stuff that we weren't doing until like week 7 last year, but like we already got some of those things in. So, just kind of fine tuning some of those things, and just coming together, like our big thing, like we start at 3, we go 3 to 5, then we take an hour lunch break. I always tell the kids, like, when we go in there, like, check your phones on your way in, like drop your stuff off and then leave your phones in your locker. Like, talk to your teammates. And we do, like, we just don't talk. I tell the kids, like, we just don't talk to each other anymore. Everything's text, everything's phone. I'm a middle school assistant principal too. Like, I have these conversations with kids all the time. Like I'll get both kids in here and just talk to the kid. So I think that's a big thing. That's kind of gotten lost through the years. So that's one of our things that we try to emphasize, and just coming together. And it is like we got a pretty close knit group. Like this senior class, it's a talented class. Like we've been excited for this class since they've been real young, kind of working their way through. So just kind of building off of that, and just making sure we got everything ready to go, because the Dundee game will be here fast.
Yeah. I mean, practice is already starting on Monday. So
Yeah.
it is coming at you. And if you're not ready, it will hit you. It will hit you really hard.
So, right.
All right. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you guys in the upcoming year.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.